Right now, as you listen to this, your mind is doing something it has done every single day of your life. It is looping. The same worry you had yesterday morning, it came back tonight. The same doubt you thought you buried last year, it resurfaced in the shower this morning. And the worst part is not the thoughts themselves. It is that your mind is stuck in this pattern, and it does not want you to know. The Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh spent decades studying this loop, and he described it with striking simplicity. He said, "We need silence just as much as we need air, just as much as plants need light. If our minds are crowded with words and thoughts, there is no space for us." No space for us. Think about that for a moment. When was the last time your mind was truly quiet, not distracted by a screen, not numbed by noise, but genuinely still? Most people cannot remember. And that is not a personal failure. It is a modern epidemic. In 2020, researchers at Queen's University in Canada published a groundbreaking study in Nature Communications. They wanted to measure something no one had ever precisely counted before: the actual number of thoughts a human brain produces in a single day. They called them thought worms, distinct mental transitions that could be tracked through brain imaging. Dr. Jordan Poppink and Julie Tseng spent years developing the method, and what they found stopped people in their tracks. 6,200. That is how many thoughts the average person has every single day. 6,200 separate mental events firing through your brain from the moment you wake up until the moment you fall asleep. And here is the part that should concern you. For most people, the vast majority of those thoughts are not new. They are echoes, repetitions of the same fears, the same regrets, the same imagined conversations you have already had 1,000 times before. Your mind is not thinking. It is replaying, like a broken record that nobody knows how to stop. Neuroscientists discovered why this happens. A landmark finding revealed a network in your brain called the default mode network, a system that activates the moment you stop focusing on a task. It was identified through functional MRI studies that changed everything we know about the resting brain. The default mode network connects your medial prefrontal cortex, your posterior cingulate cortex, and your amygdala, the brain's fear center. When you are not actively doing something, this network quietly takes over. It starts scanning the past for threats. It starts projecting the future for dangers. And its favorite activity is rumination. The endless replaying of moments that already happened, and the rehearsing of moments that probably never will. Research from the University of Michigan showed that chronic rumination keeps your cortisol levels elevated, the stress hormone that was originally designed for running from predators. Your body cannot tell the difference between a real threat and a thought about a conversation you had 3 years ago. The stress response is biologically identical. Your body is reacting to a memory as if it were happening right now. So your mind loops and your body pays the price. Night after night, you lie in bed with a racing mind. You replay conversations. You rehearse arguments. You worry about tomorrow while regretting yesterday. Not because something is wrong with you, but because your default mode network is doing exactly what it was built to do. It just was never built for a world like this one. This problem is not new. 2,500 years ago, Buddhist monks called it monkey mind. The restless, swinging, chattering nature of untrained thought. The Stoic philosophers in ancient Greece and Rome wrestled with the same pattern. And now, 21st century neuroscience has confirmed what both traditions always knew. 3 civilizations, 3 different languages, 3 different centuries. And they all arrived at the same conclusion. The untrained mind is the source of human suffering, not the world outside your window. Not your circumstances or your failures, the noise inside your own head. That is where the pain lives, and that is also where the freedom begins. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus put it with razor precision over 2,000 years ago in his Enchiridion. He wrote, "It is not things that disturb us, but our judgments about things. Not what happens to you, but the story your mind tells about what happened." And that distinction changes everything. Because if the suffering lives in the story, then you do not need to change your entire life to find peace. You need to change your relationship with your own mind. You need to learn to see a thought for what it is, just a thought, and let it pass without building your whole day around it. That is exactly what both ancient monks and modern scientists agree on. In 2011, researchers at Yale University published a study in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences that made headlines around the world. They studied experienced meditators and compared their brain activity to people who had never meditated. What they were looking for was activity in the default mode network, that rumination engine we talked about. The question was simple but profound. Can the human mind actually learn to quiet itself? Or are we permanently trapped in the loop? Is overthinking just part of being human, something we have to accept? Or can the brain be retrained? The results were remarkable. Experienced meditators showed significantly reduced activity in the default mode network. The mental loop, the constant replaying and worrying and projecting, had measurably quieted, not eliminated, but tamed. The mind could learn stillness. Let that settle for a moment. The very network in your brain that generates overthinking, that fuels your anxiety and your regret and your endless mental chatter, it can be trained. Not through force, not through willpower, not through distraction or numbing or keeping yourself busy, through presence, through the simple, ancient, radical act of sitting still and watching your own mind. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius understood this nearly 2,000 years ago. In his private journal, known today as the Meditations, he wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." A Roman emperor, writing to himself by candlelight, arriving at the same truth as a brain scanner in a Yale laboratory. So where does this leave you? Right here, right now, sitting with the understanding that your racing mind is not a flaw, it is a feature that has outlived its purpose. The loop was designed to keep your ancestors alive on the savannah. It exists to protect you from threats, but somewhere along the way, it became the very thing you need protection from. And the path forward has been mapped for millennia. From the meditation halls of ancient India, to the Stoic schools of Athens and Rome, to the monasteries of Japan, to the neuroscience laboratories of the modern West. Across every continent and every century, the answer has been the same. Sit with yourself, not to fix anything, not to achieve anything, not to become someone better or more productive, just to observe the mind without following it, to let a thought arise and let it pass, like watching clouds cross an open sky. You do not chase the clouds, you do not fight them, you do not judge them, you simply witness. And in that witnessing, something extraordinary happens. The noise begins to fade. Thich Nhat Hanh described this beautifully in his book Silence. He wrote, "Not talking by itself already can bring a significant degree of peace. If we can also offer ourselves the deeper silence of not thinking, we can find in that quiet a wonderful lightness and freedom. Freedom, not from the world, but from the loop. That is what the monks knew 2,500 years ago. That is what the Stoics taught in ancient Rome, and that is what modern neuroscience confirms in laboratories today. Your mind will always produce thoughts, 6,200 of them, every single day. But you do not have to believe every single one.